Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/entitled people. In today's episode, I don't care what you are, you can't park in my spot. Entitled woman saving 3 rows of seats on airport. Entitled homeless person. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I don't care what you are, you can't park in my spot. I am a paramedic in a place that has some HOAs and apartment complexes. We hate responding to the apartment complexes because there is nothing but assigned parking and no fire zones. Basically, if we can't find a space to fit in, we have to block the road. My agency also uses first responder vehicles and ambulances. The first responder, as implied, usually arrives first, so we do our best to leave room for the ambulance to fit in. We get a call at the apartment complex. I am in the first responder. As I pull up to the address, by some miracle, there is a spot only 2 apartments away. Great, I can leave the road clear for the ambulance. As soon as I park out comes this guy screaming I can't park there. I do the "are you serious" look and just say medical emergency. He says he doesn't care, I can't park there. Keep in mind my vehicle has enough lights to make a Christmas tree jealous. I just grab my stuff, lock the vehicle and keep going. He is screaming he is going to call the cops. I tell him they are already on the way. They respond to medical emergencies. Cop gets there while I am in with the patent and tells him basically to pound salt. The cop enters the apartment and then this guy really goes full-blown entitled. He enters the apartment, comes into the room where I am treating the patient. He starts ranting and raving how I have to move my vehicle. I look at the cop and say get him out of here. The cop then seals his fate. She asks the patient if she wants this person removed from the apartment and did she ever give consent for him to enter. The patient's response, get him the F*** out, he's trespassing. Boom, the all clear. The cop gives him one last chance and tells him to leave or he will be arrested. He doubles down, I am on the HOA board, I can go where I please. At this point backup is called, the cop at least manhandles him out of the room. The ambulance arrives with PD backup and they get him out of the apartment so we can safely remove the patient. Not entirely sure what happened next as I was in the back of the ambulance, but when I got out one of the officers approaches and says sorry, but we need another bus. We had to tase him. Policy for PD is if they tase someone they have to be transported to the hospital by ambulance to the hospital, as the taser spikes have to be surgically removed due to the barbs on them. Wait for the second ambulance, they take him, I go back in service. Found out a few weeks later he was charged with trespassing, assaulting an officer, resisting arrest, interference with government administration, aka interfering with the scene of an emergency. All over a parking space that I would have been in for all of 20 minutes if he hadn't created problems. I can only assume he took a plea deal as I was never called to testify. This is absolutely disgusting. It boils my blood when people don't even get out of the way on the road. I hope these people or their families never have to wait for emergency help, then they will know how it feels in that scary situation instead of be *ching over a parking spot. Some people need to get their priorities straight. He deserved to be tased. Barging into someone's apartment when they are vulnerable receiving medical treatment. What a jerk. I do like how fire trucks are allowed to push vehicles who don't move. How gently they do so is up to them. It's rare I actually believe somebody who claims to be important somehow to defend bad behavior, but I totally believe this guy's on the HOA board. Seems exactly the type to look for that petty power. And, no, he doesn't have the right to go where he wants. I feel bad for the residents who have to deal with his nonsense. Geez, what a crappy response to someone in your building being unwell enough to require not 1 but 2 medical vehicles turning up. I work between A&E and ITU and I'm so grateful for all the work paramedics do in stabilizing a patient out there in the community, in people's homes or on the street, while dealing with shit like this, before they even get inside a hospital. It's so impressive and I'm not sure I could do it. Amazing job on keeping your cool. You see an emergency vehicle, ambulance or fire truck, park in your spot and your first response is an OMG, do you know who's hurt? Maybe I can help? Or like point them where they need to go? Be a good neighbor/friend and focus on the person at risk. Your parking spot literally isn't going anywhere. Some HOA board members need to know their place. Some seriously want a semblance of authority and use it only for that. Entitled woman saving 3 rows of seats on airport. Southwest open seating, of course, whoever has A on their boarding pass gets to get on first and pick whatever seat they want. Entitled woman, F, late 20s, looks rough, gets on with pre-boarding somehow. I'm number A1, so the first to board after pre-boarding. Entitled woman literally has laid out her items to take up 3 rows of seats right in the front of the aircraft. I can see like saving the seat next to you for someone, she legit saves 3 3-seat rows right in the front. I'm alone, so I just take another seat and raise my eyebrows at it. As other people get on, people who paid to get on first and choose their seat see it, a few make comments, laugh, raise their eyebrows, etc. Crazy chick stands up and shouts, "Want to know why I'm doing this? Because my father passed away and I have people coming home with me. And I'm sick of the looks." Get this, her party of comes on later in the boarding process and they're all adults. Like 20s minus 30s minus 40s. I thought they were maybe kids who needed to fly together. And it's a 55-minute flight at midnight. All the drama for a bunch of grown-ass adults to sit together at midnight for less than an hour? I would have plopped down in one of the rows anyway. Even the flight attendants tell people they can't save seats. It doesn't work that way. Her party should have been with her, and the flight attendant should have said something to her. What does her father who passed have anything to with it? OP should have just sat down. Funny how she thought heading somewhere for a funeral exempts people from rules and basic courtesy. Like as though lots of other people might not also be traveling for similar reasons. And, so what? Does she need 10 people holding her hands and hugging her for that 55 minutes? Oh, my dad died, I'm going to use this time to act like a psychopath. Open seating must be a nightmare. Luckily, it isn't a thing here in Australia. And I am not sure I would use a service that used this system. I don't care how much she screeches, I paid extra to board earlier and I'll take the first good seat. Even saving another seat in a row gets a pause and raised eyebrows on SWA, I can't imagine how 3 rows would go over. Flight attendant should have shut that down, she's right there. Agreed, but there was a MX issue that ended up with us deplaning and reboarding a whole new plane. I think she was too busy with it as the plane's air went out and was blowing really hot air. I understand why people are upset that she was saving seats for adults who are fully capable of sitting alone, but grieving makes people think illogically. You said she looked rough to you, this lady might be on the verge of breaking and honestly needs those people around her to just make it through the flight. I lost my father not too long ago and it was the worst moment of my life thus far, I can only imagine the pain she's in. I am not condoning how she went about saving those seats or her words, just that perhaps this is a moment where understanding might be needed. Entitled homeless person. Didn't think I would be back so soon, but this literally just happened. I live downtown on a corner, so my driveway connects both streets, and as a result there is a lot of foot traffic as people cut through rising the driveway. Rather than bothering to take my bottles for redemption, I will just place the blue bag of bottles by the bins and generally within 10 minutes someone has grabbed them. I usually put out a full blue bag of bottles every 5 days or so. I recently gave up sugared drinks except for my Starbucks canned vanilla coffee. Now I drink water and have been using the 10L container which I just refill at the grocery store, and today I put out a bag of bottles that was maybe a third full. Here is where the entitlement comes in. Sitting on my little deck having a smoke and dude walks towards the bottles. I see him around all the time and he is sadly one of my city's homeless. He grabs the bag and starts walking towards the deck where I am sitting. He knows I am the one who puts them out as he has seen me sew it and at first asked if he could take them. I said of course that is why I put them out. He was not happy about that the bag was not full and that there were only a few small water bottles and a few Starbucks cans. He berated me for the lack of bottles and said it wasn't worth taking them in to redeem. I am Canadian, so I pay a 10-cent deposit and they are redeemed for 5 cents. Then he wanted to know how I was going to make up the bottle deficit to him and demanded I ask the other tenants if they have any bottles. At this point I was pissed. It has been a long stressful week and this was not how I wanted my Friday to start. Told him to get off and enjoy the last bag of bottles he is going to get from me. Since my bottle count is now so low, I am going to take them to work. We have charity that collects the bottles for redemption. Never had an issue with them complaining about the number of bottles. I suppose if it is looked at as a job. He was frustrated because he was doing the same amount of work for less money and was fussing at the boss. Totally not your fault, of course. Okay, now it's time for everyone to downvote me too. Sometimes people just have bad days and are grouchy. I have never been homeless, I have never gone hungry, but I have been grouchy. Even to people I love. I had a guy ask me for change and when I told him I didn't have any he asked me to go to ATM lol. I've gotten asked for money and tell them I don't carry cash, even if I have some, because I ain't sharing. Others nearby see one get money and they come looking like you got plenty. I feel like I've seen this one before, maybe more than once. Because homeless people are not known for their strong mental health. I would guess that being without a place to live and sleep safely doesn't bring out the best in people. Entitled homeless people are the worst lol. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.